Hey everybody, welcome to another review episode of House of the Dragon. This is episode 5. The familiarity of screaming and death at a Westerosi wedding felt like we were being cuddled by a warm blanket. I mean, seriously, what is a Westerosi wedding without death and blood and screaming and gore? And also, how could any wedding that is being forced upon someone for political gains happen without bloodshed and drama? It's impossible, especially in this world where the Iron Throne, power and deceit reign supreme. So the fallout from Daemon and Rhaenyra's wild night out continues. Viserys has taken control over selecting the groom for Rhaenyra, and that groom happens to be from the family because there's no other eligible bachelor left. Rhaenyra, on the other hand, isn't ready to give up her torrid sexual life. And then you have Sir Criston Cole, who is ready to lay his life down. And then Alicent, our dear, amiable, friendly Alicent, is ready to kick some ass, both literally and figuratively. For those of us who have been accustomed to seeing Millie Alcock and Emily Carey play Rhaenyra and Alicent, time to get the tissue boxes out. This is their last episode. Starting next week, this series jumps several years in the future, and Princess Rhaenyra and Queen Alicent will be played by Emma Darcy and Olivia Cooke. But that's enough of that. Let's talk about this episode. What happened and where do we think it's headed? So Tino, episode 5 done and dusted.
It is. And like you said, no Game of Thrones series is complete without a wedding. And wedding we got today in this episode, I was ready to drink, I was ready to eat, and man, I was ready to do some bhangra because I was like, wedding is happening. We missed the wedding.
Were you ready for the death?
No, but in a way I was. I mean, it is Game of Thrones after all. And a warning for future Game of Thrones wedding goers. If your name is Joffrey, you should stay away from going and attending any wedding
whatsoever.
House of Dragon season 1. This is episode 5. This is most likely the last time, at least for a while, that we will see Millie and Emily. Just, amazing work throughout each episode so far. I think we will see them potentially, maybe,
but it might be like flashbacks. It'll be flashbacks. It won't be like in the present because now the story is going to go forward. One other thing that we as spectators see while watching any Game of Thrones series is the visuals. This episode started with such pretty scenery, the greenery, the cliffs, the valleys, and then we realized that we're in the Vale. And the Vale is significant because this is where Daemon's wife lives, Lady Rhea Royce. We see her, she's on top of this horse, and can we just say she isn't as unfortunate looking as Daemon makes her out to be?
That was my first thought. I was like, wait a minute, who is this person?
And she's out there, she's gonna go hunting, her cousin is there, and she basically turns him down, like, I don't need any company, I am gonna go head out and do this on my own. And we know that this turns out to be a very bad decision because Daemon appears out of nowhere. And I love how confrontational she is with him. And I don't think this is what led to her demise. I think whether or not she would have greeted him with pleasantry, he would have killed her regardless because he needs her out of the way because he has his sights set on Rhaenyra or anyone else that can get him close to the Iron Throne. I love how she says, are you here so we can finally consummate our wedding? That was really funny.
She was total badass, man. I loved it. She wasn't afraid of him. She was
like, are you here to have sex with me finally? Or are you here because your brother kicked you out? You're no longer heir. So she was definitely needling him. Yeah. And then she realizes too late, like, oh shit, he's here because I'm the only one that stands in his way, like of the ambition he has. And the way he freaks out that horse and the horse throws Lady Rhea back. Yeah. He falls on her. That was so shocking because you didn't expect it to happen like that. Right. So you have this beautiful scenery, and always when there's something so beautiful going on, something hideous is about to happen in this series. And that's what happens here. And then she calls him out again. She's literally dying. And she says, see, you're not a man. You can't finish this off. I know it. And then what does he do? He takes this huge stone and he comes and literally bashes her head in. And you don't know if she really dies or not, but it's pretty obvious because the very next scene is a fish getting its head chopped off. So there you have it.
Yeah, yeah, and oh man, I feel so bad for her. I would have loved to know a little bit more about her
Yeah.
kind of background. I mean, she seemed, like I said, she was a badass. She was pretty decent looking too.
Yeah,
And
she wasn't as bad as the sheep.
no, and it's weird because she's heard all these stories that everybody's talking about how,
Yeah,
horrible she is, or that's Damon's way of kind of, protecting himself or
exactly.
whatever it is.
So whereas Damon is like off killing his wife, we have Viserys and Rhaenyra who are on a ship heading towards Driftmark, which is basically the seat of House Valerion. And on this ship, you see Viserys, he is not feeling good. He is seasick. He literally looks so pale and like fatigued. And then you see Rhaenyra, who's just having conversation. She's perfectly fine. I feel like that's a great contrast once again to show one is full of life and the other one's life is slowly but surely diminishing. And then the funniest part was when they land on shore, there's no pageantry. There's nobody there to receive
Yeah.
him. There's Lenore, there's his sister Lena, and when people mention like, "Hey, the king is here. Why isn't Corlys Valerion here to meet him?" "Oh, he just got back. He's tired. He'll meet you inside. He's waiting for you." Like, damn the disrespect.
That is, I mean, he held the grudge obviously from last episodes that we saw, but also like, where's everybody else? Like they come in, it's like, man, nobody's there. It's like a ghost town. What happened to
Yeah,
everyone?
that whole castle was pretty deserted. So this castle is High Tide. This is, Valerion's blood, sweat, and tears. He put all of that into it to build this seat. And you see when Viserys comes in, he's out there sitting on his throne. Like, you're in my place now. You are here because obviously you need me. And I'm going to show you what my place is, at least in my home. But then, he gets up and he shows a little bit of fealty to the king. And he's obviously looking at the king who is old and sick. And then the king's cousin comes, Princess Renee's, and she's also like, "Oh, you don't look that great." And then you see that expression she makes when she's holding onto his hand and she feels that there's like stubs, there's no fingers there. So obviously she is like in the prime of her life. She's looking great. And then you have him. Viserys is looking downtrodden.
Yeah, so I love the scene of they're walking in, everything is empty. The sea snake is sitting on his throne. I love the throne. It was nice, like a driftwood kind of wooden thing. It was
Yeah.
actually pretty cool, to be honest with you. But the beautiful thing was as the king is walking through to the different kind of alleyways to get to the chamber, because you see the skulls of the different victories, you see the paintings showing all the different victories. I think that was a move, a
Wait,
power
were
move,
they
to be
of
honest
the
with you.
victories? I think it was of his ancestors.
And the victories too.
Yeah, forget all of that visual stuff. What I liked was that King Viserys basically is there and saying, "I want my daughter to get married to your son, Sir Lenore."
Mhm.
And Corlys isn't excited. He knows he has the upper hand here. He even asks about the future. Who is the heir? When Viserys comments that my heir is Rhaenyra,
Yeah.
she's the one that is going to take the throne. Then Corlys asks, "What about the children? Will their children be Valerian or Targaryen?"
Yeah.
Because obviously the rule is to take on the husband's name, right? For the kids at least. And Viserys says, "Do you really think that the Targaryen line is going to end with me?" Right? That's not happening because a dragon has always sat on this throne and a dragon will continue to sit on this throne because for him, a dragon is the end all be all. And this is why the Targaryens are above the Valerians, right? Even though
That's
they're
right.
from the pure blood that they're always
Mm.
talking
And
about.
they have their own dragons too.
But then Viserys relinquishes and says, "Okay, look, up until the heir has to sit on the throne, they will be known as Valerian. But when they inherit the throne, they will then be a Targaryen king or queen." So that was really cool because they were doing like their chess moves. Like, we know you need my son, but let me show you what I bring to the table. Because Valerian, once again, is a strong household.
It is, and I am so glad finally, after a while, the king made a smart move here. All through all these series, we've seen him make dumb decisions one after another. This was a good one. Good job, buddy.
Yeah. So while King Viserys and Princess Rhaenyra are out in Driftmark, we are back at the Red Keep. And we see Queen Alicent come face to face with her father, Otto Hightower, who is on his way out because the king doesn't want him there anymore. And this conversation is really important because even though Otto Hightower is very upset with her that she chose Rhaenyra over basically herself or her son, and Allison is there begging him to, watch what he's saying, and she can't just dispose of Rhaenyra. It doesn't look good, or it's not what she wants to do. And he tells her that she is making a big mistake because Rhaenyra is the heir, and when she takes the throne, because this king is not going to last long, he knows this as well.
Yep.
And he says that when Rhaenyra takes this throne, people are not going to like it. And in order to secure her reign, she's going to come after your son and your kids. Maybe it's not just his ambition that he wants his grandkid on the throne. He's also trying to tell his daughter that you might be having a good heart and you might think that she won't do anything, but this is a Targaryen.
Correct.
And when someone gets the throne, they're going to make sure that they keep it. And your kids are going to be in the way of that.
I think all throughout the season, this is the only episode that I actually saw him being a father.
Yeah.
And actually showing emotions towards her, hugging her, right?
Yeah.
Telling her really like, hey, let me give you some advice, right?
Yeah.
I liked it. I mean, it was a nice human side of Otto Hightower
Yeah.
that we didn't really see this entire season so far.
Yeah, and then he plants this seed in her head. I mean, he's always said this. I don't know how much she takes that into consideration, but then we see her walking in the Godswood, and then she comes across this character that we met back in episode 2, Sir Larys Strong. He basically is this slithering snake, right? He obviously is there with a plan. He's obviously trying to put Rhaenyra in the bad books, right? Because he goes, you know, that night when Damon and Rhaenyra had their thing, or they didn't have that thing, but do you know the Grand Maester visited her and he gave her a little something. What do you think that was for? Was she sick? I hope she's not that sick, because why would she need that? Right.
No, and he says specifically tea. Right. So
Tea.
that was a big thing.
Exactly. That the king sent. So even though you may think nothing is going on, and maybe nothing is going on, but why would the king send the Grand Maester to see her? So basically, he's putting it out there that she played you for a fool and you're getting played. And now that your dad is not there, I am that ally you need, because the queen needs someone on her side. And she says, like, I'm the queen. I have people on my side. And he's like, no, you don't, lady. Let me tell you why. And then he even says, I'm the silent observer. So he's taking everything in and putting his pieces together, because everyone has a role to play in this kingdom.
We knew from that episode that he is going to have a big role.
Exactly.
He is going to do sneaky shenanigans, because we saw him gossiping around with all the women sitting around, right? So like, okay, so he knows shit apparently.
Yeah.
I think that instance that happened, that dialogue and interaction between the two, I think that's going to really tell us what Alicent is going to be in the future.
Yeah, that was basically the catalyst for what happens later on.
100%.
Speaking of what's to happen, we go back to the Driftmark, and over there we have Rhaenyra and Lenore. They're walking alongside the coast, getting to know each other a little bit, talking about this impending nuptial that they're going to have. And basically, they're talking about appetites here. And at first, I just took it as that they are different. They're not really into each other, but they enjoy different things, and it's okay because, they're different. And then Rhaenyra says something really important or mischievous, that we can serve our fathers, we can serve our realm and get married, but that doesn't have to stop us from doing what we want. We can still have like our cake and eat it too. That's
yeah,
basically
we can have different foods, right? Because that's what they kept going on. Like, you like this type of food, I like that type of food, right? But we can still continue to have that. Nice way of hinting it.
I'm like, what the hell? Why are they talking about cuisine here? And then you
You're so
realize
naive.
exactly what's going on, because then Lenore's parents are talking. Corlys Velaryon, Rhaenys, and she says something really interesting, that she's not worried about Princess Rhaenyra. She's worried about her son. And I'm thinking, why is she worried about her son? Because I don't know what world I'm living in. Corlys Velaryon says he's a child. He doesn't know. The best thing on this earth is to bed a woman. And I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, he say, he will change after marriage.
Exactly, because, he might be into men, But after he gets married, he'll find the wonders of a woman, and then he'll automatically turn and have his preferences changed, right? Rhaenys is concerned about whether or not they are willingly putting Lenore into danger. Because even though Rhaenyra is the heir, Rhaenys knows that that's not a sure shot because she's a woman at the end of the day. And Corlys says, like, look, you should be the one that's on the throne, but since you are not there, why not get our son there, right? And she says that you're putting him in a dangerous way. We know that no man is going to let a woman sit on this throne, and she doesn't want her son to suffer any consequences because of how men are here.
I think Lenore was actually probably the nicest person that we have in this whole series.
Yeah.
Everyone is plotting and doing some shitty shit. He's the only poor nice guy, has no intentions of thrones or whatever, listening to his parents. I was like, wow, such a nice kid.
Yeah. And even, when Lenore is shown with his paramour, boyfriend, lover, Joffrey, and Joffrey's talking to him about his future. Like, oh, so you're going to be king consort. You're marrying, the heir to the throne. But you see this moment between them, and it's not just lust there. There's a genuine connection between them. And how that plays out is going to be interesting to see. Because like we just said, Lenore seems like that one positive ray of sunshine in the show. But damn, this show does him bad. Not just Lenore. You know who else I feel bad for?
Yeah.
Sir Kristen Cole. Okay? Oh. Throughout this episode, from start to finish, Kristen Cole was put through the ringer. One after another, his character goes through so much shit. Like, first of all, when Rhaenyra comes back from talking to Lenore and they're headed back to King's Landing, he basically proposes to her. He's showing this life that they might have in Essos, where they're nameless, they're carefree, they can be nobodies and have a happy, loving, sex-filled marriage, right? Where nothing has to change. And she literally is looking at him like, boy, you must have lost your mind because I am not trading the Iron Throne for a bushel of oranges. So his dream to be in Essos is a bushel of oranges. So that is like,
you may be good, but you're not that good, boy.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I can find another man. So it's really probably disheartening for him. He has broken his oath as a Kingsguard. He has soiled his white cloak. For what? For this girl who obviously cares about her family and the throne much more than him, because she even says the Iron Throne is bigger than me, bigger than my family. And I don't think so. She's basically showing that she is power hungry. She feels like this is her legitimate spot and that's the spot she needs, and she doesn't care about your love or the nice sex she's having with you. She'd rather sit on that throne. So after this whole showdown that happens where Kristen Cole just storms off like away from her, he then gets summoned by Alicent because Alicent now wants to know what the hell is going on. So not only is his dream gone for a toss, but I think his wits have gone for a toss as well, because out of his own free will, he admits to Alicent that I am the one that's been having sex with Rhaenyra, not Daemon. Daemon didn't do anything that ill-fated night, that dishonorable night. It was me. And at first I thought maybe this is revenge because she just crushed his dreams. So he's like, okay, wait a minute. I'm going to show her what's up now because I'm going to let Alicent know that girl doesn't have her virtue intact. But I feel like he's maybe that dumb. He's that lost in this love or whatever he feels for her that he straight up says it. Like, no. It wasn't Daemon. It was me.
We were watching it and I kept going, don't say anything, because you saw it coming. Like, don't say anything. She's not talking about you, dumbass. She's talking about Daemon.
No, she even said Daemon. She said Daemon's name like 10 times.
Oh, yeah, that was, I think at that point, he's like, okay, look, I'm just going to be dead anyways. She didn't accept my offer. I'm pretty much as good as gone. I have nothing to live for, so might as well just tell people.
Yeah, because he's broken his oath, so maybe he feels guilty about that. But maybe he's just a much bigger idiot than we thought. This cool, calm, collected guy who got selected to be in the Kingsguard, maybe he's not cool, calm, and collected. Because as we're going to see, like, shit breaks loose and he completely loses it.
Yeah, no, he does. I think it was the dumbest mistake. He wasn't cool, collected at all. Whatever the reason behind him kind of saying this shit and saying, first of all, to Rhaenyra, all of that stuff, and then basically saying, well, I'm not going to be your whore, fine, and then go tell the queen what's going
Yeah.
on. I
Yeah,
just
and
didn't know
like
what he
with
was thinking.
Alicent, you could see the shift that happens to her in this scene because even in the beginning of the scene, she welcomes him. She tells him to, have a seat. And she even says, like, look, I know you are there to protect her, and I'm not pointing fingers at her, but can you tell me like what's going on? Because there's a lot of like gossip that's happening.
Yes.
So she is still giving Rhaenyra the benefit of the doubt. And then when she finds out that Rhaenyra is playing her for a fool, you can see that change on Alicent's face. She goes from this nice, supportive friend to someone who's like, what the hell? I've been played. I am a fool.
She did, and we will see what happens next.
Yeah. As all of this is going on, as the episode is progressing, you see that Viserys looks like death himself. He keeps looking worse and worse and worse. And it's not just the wounds. He has this sickening cough going on. He has like these sores that he's already dealing with. I just think he is counting his last days.
Yep.
And this is not a king that's going to live long. And you even see him have this conversation. What kind of king am I going to be remembered as? Because I haven't fought in any major battles, but I also haven't had any major losses. But that doesn't make a good song because it's all about history, how you're looked at, right?
Right.
And the hand basically says that do you care about the fact that you might not have a great song, or do you care about the fact that you continued King Jaehaerys's reign and you've brought stability to the realm? And he's like, really? Other people would have said that, no, I'm going to be remembered very fondly and I'm very great, but perhaps it's better that I don't know what's coming after I leave.
Yeah, and well, I want to know, how is the king alive still?
Yeah,
Every episode, he's like, okay, he's gonna be dead now. He's gonna be dead now. I mean, there's like stuff popping, like weird, gross things are happening in his body. Like, what the hell, dude? How are they keeping him alive? I guess it's maggots.
great medicine.
Yeah, the maggots.
Maggots? Leeches.
Oh yeah, leeches.
Wow. Now getting to the best or the most juicy and amazing part of the whole episode, right? This wedding feast that's happening, the 7 days of celebration that's going to take place. You see this whole fleet of ships making their way towards King's Landing, and you see these two dragons soaring. So we know Daemon is also on his way along with the Valerians.
Mhm.
And then you see in this throne room, like everyone has gathered. The Lannisters are being called, and then the Valerians are being called. But before that, what you notice is at the high table where the king is, there's one seat empty. Queen Alicent is not there. She is still angry with what has happened. But you see, Viserys is sitting there, Rhaenyra is sitting there, and they're welcoming the guests. So when Valerian family is called, did you notice how for Lenore they said the future king consort?
Yeah, they did. They did.
Yeah.
I actually like that because that's where, so far we've seen him mention that Rhaenyra is the heir. But this one, I think it's further solidifies that King actually believes in that. I was happy to see that actually.
One of the funnier things that happened in this scene was when Jason Lannister goes up to the king and he's asking where the queen is. And the king says, oh, she's still getting ready. And then he goes, this is why men wage war, because women are never here. They're never ready. And Rhaenyra's like, aren't you just as pleasant as ever? It's really funny. Rhaenyra also shows Lenore respect. She gets up, they give each other a warm greeting, and everyone in the crowd starts clapping for them, and they take their seats. And then you see who makes the entry. Daemon, of course. How many times is Viserys gonna banish him, and how many times is Daemon still gonna show up? That look on Viserys's face was hilarious. Like, what the hell are you doing here?
Yeah, and the best part was no one announced him. He just walks in like, man, I own this place, right? Just sat down.
And he literally takes a place at the high table alongside his brother.
No, he goes and grabs a chair from another table and just says, okay, I'll just go sit.
Yeah, that was really funny. And then, the king gets up. He's going to make his speech, how we are going to celebrate and this, that, and the other. But he is rudely cut off because Alicent makes her presence fade, right? She comes into the throne room, and when she appears, She's wearing this gorgeous, like green gown.
Oh,
And I loved the way she looked. I loved her posture, the way she walked. You could tell that this lady means business. Like this girl has grown in the last like couple of days because of all the stuff that's come to light. When they scan the crowd, you see her family sitting at the table and they're
mhm.
all wearing green as well. So
Yep.
green holds significance. Like, guys, I'm also wearing green. I'm on Allison's team here. Green is the color the Hightower household wears when they wage war. So
Oh,
she is clearly not on the Targaryen side anymore. She clearly is against Rhaenyra and her husband, Viserys, because they have kept her in the dark. She was playing nice guy between them. She was the middleman between them, but not
mhm.
anymore.
Nope.
She's like, this is done. I'm like
Everyone,
done and dusted. I'm doing what I need to do now, whether it is to abide by what my father said, whether that is to take care of my own son now and my own heir. I'm going to make sure what I want happens. And later on, her uncle even says that I thought with Otto gone, you were going to shrink into the background, but you are standing tall and strong, and your father would love this.
and he said that we are here to support you
Yep.
if and when you decide to do some, something,
Ass
right? So,
kicking.
yeah.
Yeah. So she takes her place, and King Viserys is once again going to pick up on his speech, and he has no idea where he left off. So he has to even ask, like, where was I? But basically, he's talking about the union of these two households and how there's going to be feast and tourney for like 7 days to
Mhm.
celebrate this magnificent match that's taking place. But what you see here is Kristen Cole is not happy, Rhaenyra is not happy, Lenore is not happy, Joffrey isn't happy. When Lenore and Rhaenyra are out dancing, Kristen Cole is like furious, right? And Joffrey is obviously jealous with what's going on. But the funny thing here is that Joffrey has picked up on Kristen Cole. He knows there's something going on, and he tells Lenore, like, she knows our secret, but now you know her secret. But then he makes a mistake. He goes and tells Kristen, like, dude, we know who you are. Just like I am to Lenore, that's how you are to Rhaenyra. Like, why would you go and say this? Because you want to keep him in his place? But now Kristen Cole is probably freaking out that this secret is going to harm Rhaenyra, or he's going to use this secret to cause some kind of drama. So before he can even do anything, shit
Yeah.
hits the fan. But before that, we get the reunion of Daemon and Rhaenyra. Daemon is like, what the hell are you doing? Lenore is a great guy, a great warrior, but he is gonna bore you to death in this marriage. And
Yep.
then she's like, why? You want me? Why don't you fight off this whole King's Guard or whatever it is and then take me as
Yep.
your wife? So she is like playing these cards too. She knows that she's in a position where she can pick and choose and she can point fingers at him because she wanted him. She at
Yeah.
least wanted to have sex with him. And now that he's here and he's always playing his games, she's like, I can play a game too.
Oh yeah, she can. And actually going back to Joffrey talking to Sir Kristen, dumbass, like what are you doing, man? Like
Yeah.
this is the guy that beat Damon in the tourney. And you
Yeah.
are going there like, oh yeah, I know your secret.
Yeah, their
Oh, what do
dance
you
is like cut short because all of a sudden you hear screaming and people are freaking
he's
out
beating
what's
his
going
ass.
on. They're running all over the place. And you see that Kristen Cole and Joffrey are fighting. Lenore tries to get in, but he can't save him. Kristen Cole literally bashes his head in. He's done and dusted. Lenore is seeing his love. He's dead, and he's crawling and crying towards him. Everyone is gone. Then you see Kristen Cole heading towards the God's Wood, and he's putting the cloak is gone. He's putting the sword on the ground. He takes a knife out, and he's literally about to kill himself before Alicent comes.
Yeah.
She stops him. So now I feel like Kristen Cole and Alicent are gonna be a team.
That
They are
makes
gonna
sense.
do something together now.
And that makes sense. He was like, man, these bastards fucked me over and I have to basically die, kill myself now. And the same thing happened to her. Everybody lied to her and basically kind of, try to do their own game playing. So they're like, okay, do we see them now getting together and saying, we
Exactly.
can play the game too? I hope
Yeah.
so.
And then the 7 days of feasting and pageantry are gone because they are getting married then and there
Yep.
before anything else can happen, right? Let's just solidify this deal because it is a deal. Poor Lenore, he's teary-eyed. Rhaenyra is like even sad because she obviously doesn't want this either, but they're getting it done. Viserys is coughing up blood and he's collapsing. So all of this is happening, and even the blood of Joffrey hasn't been cleaned up.
Yeah,
They're like, forget the death that just happened. Let's get you guys married.
there's a mouse like eating the blood, just sitting there while they're doing their ceremony. Oh my God! Like, but you know what? That's what you expect from a Game of Thrones wedding. What else did we expect?
Yeah, exactly. If you ask me, like every character in the show, at least when it comes to Viserys, Rhaenyra, Daemon, they're all shades of gray. It's up to you to figure out which shade of gray you like, because the drama that's surrounding this throne is not just Daemon's doing. He's vengeful, he's spiteful, he has ambition. So yeah, that is a problem. But then you have Viserys, who's being, I think, stubborn because he was like really mean and didn't appreciate his wife. Now he's trying to appreciate his daughter. And even though so many people are against this as her being heir, he's like, nope, she's the heir, she's the heir. So maybe he could have stopped all this nonsense from happening, but he doesn't want to do that. And then you have Rhaenyra. She might be legitimate. She might deserve that throne, but she is playing a deceivious and selfish game as well. She is also wanting to bend people to her will. She wants to assert her power. So she's not all that hunky-dory as well as a character.
And to be honest with you, I don't. If you want to sit on the throne, you can't be.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how that king got lucky, man. Mysterious, kind of like this dumbass, and he's sitting on the throne. I don't think that would ever happen again after he's dead.
It's not lucky. Well, it is luck. He was born a man. Otherwise, Rhaenys would have been there because she's obviously more capable. At least that's what it looks like. I'm the most interested in seeing what Alicent does from here on out.
Yes.
This once, like I said, amiable character is now smart. She has woken up to the deceit, to the lies around her. So she is definitely going to do something. I don't know if it's to put Aegon onto the throne or to further her own agenda, like how she will further that agenda, what she will do. Will she totally go against Rhaenyra? I don't know. But I think she's definitely going to be a major factor in the story to come.
So we have Daemon kind of doing his own thing, going after the throne, obviously. So that's one character. We have Rhaenyra, obviously, going after the throne. And now with Lenore, I guess that's a power couple. They're going together. And then now we have Alicent and potentially Sir Criston with Alicent. So I feel like
they might put Aegon on the throne.
Yes. So I think, are we looking at those three characters that are going to be going after the throne?
I feel like we've been looking at those three characters.
Well, I mean, Alicent has always been in the background in a way, right? Like,
but Alicent cannot take the throne. It will be her son. And now he was cheerleading for Rhaenyra, obviously, the whole time. But now Rhaenyra is done and dusted for her. And she is, I feel like, gonna put Aegon onto the throne. So let us know in the comment section down below what you think is gonna happen next. Are you sad to see Millie and Emily go? Are you excited to see what the grown-up characters are like? What do you think is going to happen with this wedding, this marriage that has just happened? And do you think Criston Cole and Alicent join hands? Follow me on social media. I am Furry602. And don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. And we'll see you next week with another review.